open it here, and what do I see right here? A bolt. What do I see right here? A bolt. And if I loosen those bolts, does it make it much easier to wrap the A-pillar? Cool. So now for these, my tip for you guys, loosen the top, loosen the light, cool, right? So by opening the hood, now I know for sure that I can. I don't assume that I can. Cool. Does it make me look like I know what I'm talking about with the customer? For sure. Awesome. Now I move to the door. Easy or hard? Pretty easy if?
No door handle removal?
Yeah. So well, if I could, right now I open the car and I look at the side of the door. What do I see? I see what I call the black button glove. And if I see the black button or glove, that means that this door handle 99 out of 100 times will come out. Super easy. Once this door handle comes out, is this door easy to wrap? Yes.
Is that going to be without removing the door panel?
Yes. Hopefully. Know your cars, but I think this will come off pretty easy. I'm pretty confident about that. Cool. So I've never taken this car apart, but I'm assuming, I'm hoping, right? This door handle comes off easy. Great. Do I take this off? No fucking way. How are these door handles to wrap?
Surface, it's plastic.
Plastic. Dude, they're great. I don't have to wrap these handles. How cool is that? Awesome. All right. How's this mirror to wrap? Easy or hard? I don't know. It's a curvy mama. Right here is not too bad. Doesn't come up here. There's a cap back here. There's an edge here. To wrap this in one piece is doable, but I still think you might have some tension here, and I think you might have some tension here. It's not easy, but it's not bad, right? Door handles don't have to wrap.
Yes. Yeah, I'd say about.
Cool. Okay. If you had to wrap the door handles, are they easy or hard? They're not bad.
With it being plastic?
Well, I'm saying if these were painted, right? Are these a hard shape to wrap? Not particularly. Okay. So I think if we had to wrap the handles, you know, it would not be bad, but we don't have to, which is good, which means that we can offer the customer a discount. Cool, right? So we're not wrapping handles now. This means you save a couple $100. The customers get stoked. Cool. So we're good. Anything else on this here? I look at the back fender. Back fender goes from here to here, and the back fender ends here. So is that easy to wrap?
Yeah.
Sure. Cool. How's this gas cap?
Easy.
Easy. Cool. Anything else on here? No. How's the rocker panel?
Plastic.
Cool. Come back here. So far, we're like feeling pretty good about this car, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Right. How's that antenna to wrap? Easy or hard? One piece?
2.
No, these two. I'm saying that antenna ain't easy. You're not wrapping that one piece, right? So keep that in mind. So I think that antenna is not a one-piecer. Cool. How's the top spoiler? Is that a one-piecer? No way. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I see this, no one piece, no one piece. Totally different ballgame. So I know that. I don't tell the customer that, but I just say, yo, this is hard. Because normally they make this section here plastic, but in this case they did one piece seamless. Wow, it was a totally different ballgame. How's this direct?
Because you got that mouth.
Yeah, I think this is super tricky. The chance of it splitting here, this is very, very deep inside here. So that's a nasty mama. Right now, to wrap this properly, I definitely think this has to come out. Has to. So therefore, when I'm with the client, I say, okay, this is pretty crazy here. It's a pretty big mouth. And that's even nastier. That's fucking great. Cool. So I want to take this out, but even then, that doesn't help me for this, right? So this is a really complicated hatchback. This car was easy till this. Okay. I think this is going to be a challenge. It's going to require even this.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. This trunk just went up to a 9 with this hatchback. Just totally just changed on a dime. Cool. But I don't tell the customer that, but at least I'm starting to read it. This back bumper, easy or hard? Not bad, but this is a pretty hungry mouth. You could do a two-piecer here. I'm definitely going to guide them that way, but I'm just saying it's not bad because we don't have to wrap here. It's cool, we don't have to wrap here. Cool, this is Randy's car. So.
Where would you stop at? Would you stop here, or would you continue to go all the way?
Good question. So I tell the customer, yo, for a standard color change wrap, because your car is black, we're going to go to here. If you'd like me to wrap here, that's cool. It's going to be an extra $150. How's that? You know what I'm saying? Good question. So now we've done an assessment on the car. Overall, not bad. Hatchback, super hard. Antenna, hard. Door handles, we don't have to wrap. So we feel a pretty good idea of what we're getting into. Cool. So the customer wants this. So this means what?
Directional.
Directional, cool. Is it a sensitive film to put on? A little bit. Is it more expensive than the other film? A little bit, cool. So now if we wrap this car purple, customer's cool, whatever, right? But I don't want my customer to wrap it. I want to give my customer a really good experience. So right now I say, yo, here's the deal. obviously this is what we call high wear and tear area right now. If I wrap your bumper on one piece, it's gonna look cool. The problem is right now, when you take out your luggage and dead bodies and shit like that, the problem right now is you're gonna scratch and damage the wrap. If you damage this right now to the point where you want me to replace it, because I can't guarantee the wear and tear, right? Is if I replace this, it's gonna be another 4 yards of material I have to stop what I'm doing. It's gonna be around $1,000 to fix. It's a lot. Or one option I can have is I can take knifeless tape, put it here, I'll wrap this first, I'll cut it to here, take this piece here, put it on top, it totally disappears. I show them what an overlap looks like, and I say this is replaceable, so if this gets damaged, we'll save 2 or 3 yards of material for you. And every time this gets damaged, come back to the shop and I'll replace it for like $100. Super easy, no appointment necessary, awesome. Or I can wrap this and put PPF on top. Okay, paint protection film is really good, it's super durable. Problem is I can't match a PPF on top of this, so it's gonna look not great. What I recommend, and why you come to my shop and why I have such a good reputation in New Mexico, is I do 2 tones. So instead of doing purple here, I can do purple carbon. So when I shut this right now you get this carbon flare, you get that kind of 2-tone custom look. That's kind of what I'm selling, that's what we do at our shop right now, because I like to wrap cars, I don't paint cars, right? So they say, cool. So I say, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get that carbon flare, which is cool. Plus it's replaceable, and carbon doesn't cost that much more, so instead of buying 20 yards of color flow, let's buy 15 yards of color flow and 5 yards of carbon, and then I can really do some cool stuff on your car. And they say,
Yes.
cool. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I've hooked them, by freaking them out there, because it's true, right? I'm not selling snake oil. So now, instead of seeing this car purple, see this car as a 2-tone. How's this back now? If I look at this back now, what I'm going to sell the customer, which I didn't even mention before, is now what we can do is we can do purple here, we can put carbon inside here, whatever. This can be purple here, but then if I do this, this is going to be carbon, and this is going to be carbon. So this is a cool custom thing. I say this is for people looking, and this is for you when you get in the car. It's a little secret. Cool. And the customer says, cool. And then I can say, well, we're doing this now. We're doing purple and then black, which is kind of cool. Why don't we wrap this? What is that called? It's a chrome bleed, right? So now I do a chrome bleed. I could wrap that with carbon, or I could wrap it with satin black or whatever. Cool. So now I'm selling this, which I didn't even mention before. Do I want to wrap this? Not particularly. I'll spray it, or I'll buy a black one. Cool. So now I'm doing this. Awesome. Do I want to wrap these? No. So I say either we could put them back on or just take them off and not put them back on the car. I personally not put them back on the car. And the client says, cool, cool, which saves me a lot of time. Awesome. What can I do here? Tint. Okay, I could do PPF, or I could do regular tint. I could do light, dark, medium, right? And I could also do carbon. They have carbon tint for lights. What? How much can I charge for tinting the lights here?
$100. Mark? 200? 50?
I think for the backlights alone and the reflectors here, I think you should charge at least 300. How long does it take to wrap these? Very long. Cool. Is that an easy upsell?
Yep.
Especially if I say carbon here matches the carbon here, they're like, fuck. It's cool. Okay. Is it harder to wrap carbon versus the other ones? No, it's the same thing, but I can upsell because it's cool. What can I put here?
Business
Tint.
logo, tent.
No, not logo, just tint. Okay. So this, most of the cars are coming tinted from the factories, built into the glass, but it doesn't have any of the properties of regular tint. It's just smoked. You know what I'm saying? So I can say, look, I'm going to put clear ceramic on this, which means that you can use your phone and stuff like that, but it's going to have full protection and everyone's going to be cool in the back. And the customer says, cool or no. How long does it take to tint back windows in the back?
About an hour.
Half if you're good? Cool. So how much can you charge for that? Clear ceramic on windows?
For a back window, about 160.
And for the sides?
About 80 each.
Yeah, and if it's ceramic.
Small windows, about 30.
And ceramic is a higher price point, so I'm going to sell them on premium ceramic. Why not? Cool. So again, I can upsell that for what? 300, 500, 300, 400 bucks. Cool. So I'm upselling this, I'm upselling this, and I'm upselling this. Cool. Is the customer pissed or happy?
Happy.
Cool. Now look at this motherfucker. Cool. This is hard, but now I'm going to do what? I'm going to put a pinstripe of carbon across. Why not? That's one option. Or I could do this carbon, whatever. Is that easier? Yeah. Is it custom? Yeah. Can I charge more for that? Yes. Does the customer know I'm making it easier? No. What about this? I didn't even mention these before, but can I wrap these? Yes. So now I'm going to wrap this with what? Carbon. All day. And the customer's going to be super happy about it. So I'm not mentioning this before because this is extra. It ain't part of the price. This is not part of the price. This is not part of the price. This is part of the price. These are upsells. Awesome. But are these easy to wrap? Cool, okay. How's that antenna? There's no way I'm wrapping that antenna in one piece. I'm actually gonna wrap it in two pieces. One, two, put a seam here, and then I'm gonna put a pinstripe of carbon right in the middle. And the customer's gonna be like, what? And I'm gonna be like, what? And I'm gonna be like, that's, today that's free of charge. And they say, oh, no way. Yeah, it's cool. Do you guys understand?
Yep.
Would a pinstripe there be really cool with carbon? I think so. Why not? What could we wrap the whole roof with now?
Carbon.
Awesome. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you come back and look at the siding? Okay. Now look at the car, not through purple eyes, but through two-tone eyes. What do we got?
You can do the
Yeah. You could also,
carbon, the pillars,
you could also,
carbon, the gas cap.
so we got the pillars, we got the carbon, we got the chrome. I'm gonna show you how to lower your install time on chrome deletes by half in this workshop, which is cool. The only thing that freaks me out is what? Yeah. So this pinstripe is there, and this is paint. Okay. So how do I want to take that off?
Grind.
Grind it. Okay. So is that an extra charge?
Yes.
Can I wrap over the top? I could, but it's going to show. I just tell the client I'm going to take this off, otherwise it's going to show through. Cool. I neutralize that now. Anything else that's interesting here on the site? I don't think so. Cool. Well, do I want to wrap the rims?
No.
Cool. So why don't you guys come on over here? How's the hood? Yeah, what can I put on the hood now?
Carbon.
I can put stripes or carbon or whatever. Right now I'm gonna wrap the hood purple and I'm gonna do racing stripes from front to back. Why not? Good option. Look at the front now.
Delete. Chrome.
I can do it here, I can do this carbon, I can do this purple, I can do this carbon. So many options right now. You know what I'm saying? Look at the headlights. What do I wanna put on the headlights?
10.
PPF. A lot of rock chips and stuff like that. So I'm gonna put PPF on the front, just clear. That's an easy upsell, very easy to do. 8-minute install, you can charge at least $150 for that. Cool. So now I'm doing PPF on the headlights and doing all sorts of stuff. Cool. So has the car become easier to wrap or harder?
Easier.
Easier.
Can I charge more for this?
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now the customer has all this on the package and I offer them what? A combo deal. This, and this comes up to this, but I'm not gonna charge you this if you do this package. And they say, cool, I like packages. You know what I'm saying? So do you get that when you guys do anything else? Yeah, you get a package deal. I'm down with that. Cool. So I sell them a package deal. Awesome. And they're in for it. So do you know what I'm saying? So the customer's coming out of this thinking they want a purple car, now they have a custom car because now they understand wrapping better. Customers don't know what they don't know. My job is to educate them. An educated customer is a very good customer. My job is to educate them. You're an educator. Cool. Okay. But I'm also talking about the benefits, warranties, how this holds up, all that kind of stuff. This particular material has really cool. It's beautiful, but it also has a high static feel. So this picks up a lot of dust. And if you're in New Mexico right now, this car can get dirty really quick. But I highly recommend, especially with the satin finish and the carbon, we could put a ceramic coating on top of this, and the ceramic coating is going to be really good. It's going to protect it. That ceramic coating is an extra $600 to let's say $800, but I highly recommend it. The one I put on, what we recommend, is 18 months protection. It's the best one out there by far, and it takes 1 hour to outgas, so we don't have to wait a whole day for it to outgas. The customer says yes or no. And that's something to keep in mind. That you could also put ceramic coating on your windows and your rims. Cool. And the customer says either yes or no. Make sense? So I'm talking about all these things, and all these things are coming up now. So am I happy about all this? Cool. And the customer says yes, let's do it. What do I get from the customer up front?
Deposit.
Deposit. Okay. How much is the deposit?
At least half.
At least half. How come at least half?
That way you can order material and you know that customer's also confident in getting the job done.
That helps. Okay, if we're playing Rap Feud right now, you've got 5 and 6. Or 4 and 5. Why do I want to give a deposit 50%? What does the 50% give me?
An appointment.
What?
An appointment.
Well,
Assurance.
It's like an appointment, but it also means that if I get 50%, it means that if they show up with the car dirty, do I care? No, because there's a cleaning fee that comes out of that deposit. If they show up late, do I care? No, because that late fee comes out of the deposit. If they show up so late that I have to cancel them and they still want it done that day, they're going to get hit with a rush fee. What does that come out of?
The deposit.
Deposit. Freaks them out. Anyone here stayed in a hotel? If you call and cancel your hotel right now, do you get your money back? No, because you signed a box that said I can't cancel within 24 hours. Cool. Or even for me, I do Hilton, I can't cancel within 5 days, but I get a special price. But if I do it under 5 days, I lose my whole money. Cool. Interesting. Good to know. You know what I'm saying? So this is part of the deal. So that 50% is not only covering material, but it's also guaranteeing your customer to lock in. If they cancel within 24 hours, they don't get that deposit back. So be it. It's business. It's life. Cool. Right? When I'm with a customer, one thing that's very important right now is I do this. I say, do you have a ceramic coating on your car? And they say yes, no, or I don't know where ceramic coating is. So I clean the section with alcohol, and I take this surface energy pen and I do this. And you guys come see the light. So is that line nice and solid? Yes. Because I cleaned it with alcohol, which means I took off the stuff on the surface. Now I come in with the pen and I do this. I'll shut this pen. Jacked. So now this pen, do you see it start to do that? Do you see it start to bead? So it's not a solid line like this. Now it's beading. That tells me the surface energy is low because there's some oil on there. If this is ceramic coating, this would slide off. Interesting. Okay. So if the customer has ceramic coating on the car, is that good or bad?
Bad.
That's great. Why? Because I know now. I know that before I give them a price quote, I say, do you have a ceramic coating on your car? And they say, oh, I do. Or if I find out if they do, then I'm going to do what? I'm going to take it off, but I'm going to
Upcharge.
upcharge them. How long does it take to take a ceramic coating off a car? About, if you know,
Hour.
about 30 minutes. Okay, if you have a compound from Rupus and you do the right thing, you can take it off pretty quick. But you have to compound it off the car. You have to. It's not just hand, right? So as long as I know that, cool. Then I say, is this the original paint on the car? And they say, yes, no, or maybe. And if they say, well, I don't know, then I do this. And I'm figuring out the depth of the paint. Do I want the paint to be thick or thin?
Thick.
Thin.
Thin.
Yeah. If it's thick, it's no bueno. Why? It's got other coats on it. It's got a couple coats on it. If it's thin, it's good, right? So how else can I see if this is original color or original paint?
Feel the edges.
Feel the edges for overspray. What else?
VIN number.
VIN number. What else? You guys are doing good. Lots of different ways to tell if it's original paint.
Seeing if there's two different
Door
body
jams.
panels.
Two different body panels, door jams, dirt and paint, orange peel. Why is it important for me to understand if it's original paint or not?
Because it could come off when the wrap was off.
Exactly. So Avery guarantees if it's OEM paint under 5 years old, guaranteed. If it's OEM paint over 5 years old, or if it's OEM paint with bad condition, there's no guarantee. Cool. So I do this with a client now. Let's say the hood has been repainted, but everything else is fine. Is the whole car void or just the hood? Just the hood. Don't freak the client out. Just say it's probably going to be okay, but in this case, I can't warranty the hood. Are you cool with it? And they say yes, or they say no. Cool. So I'm saying I'm doing all this now. Do you know how many problems I'm avoiding right now?
Quite a few.
Makes sense. Cool. Okay. So once the car's done, the client says yes, and then the client comes, and we're good to go. And now we're ready to wrap. Make sense? Okay. But do you guys understand how important the sales process is? Okay. This is a good time. Engage the client. Make them excited about what they're about to get. Why? Because it's exciting to. They're getting a car wrapped. I want them to make them feel special and loved, and it's going to be a cool process because it is cool if you let it, right? But if you just treat it again like a purple car, who gives a shit? Cool. But do you understand those upsells? Awesome. Okay. So any questions now? All right. While we come over here, I'll show you tools. That's awesome, by the way. So this pen has a certain shelf life. And clearly, it's past the shelf life. So if you guys want to come around the tools, I'll just walk you through what we got. Just make sure everyone can see, and I'll go from right to left in this case. Okay. So my game has changed a lot, especially in the past, I would say 6 months to a year, right? In the workshops for years, I would say paper towels are okay. Just make sure you get good paper towels. You can use alcohol and baby shampoo. Clean the car. Awesome. Don't say that at all anymore, right? First off, I wear good gloves, right? Now I don't use paper towels because A, paper towels are expensive, B, they don't absorb very well, and C, they scratch. Not good, right? So I've been working with the Rag Company. Rag Company is based in Boise, Idaho. They're Amazon's #1 seller for microfiber towels for good reason, right? I used to use microfiber towels from Home Depot, Lowe's, all right? And when they educated me on the towels, I'm like, oh crap, right? Those towels that you get from the Home Depot, Lowe's are 20/80 blends. The quality of the fabric is not very good. They're hard, they don't absorb very much. You're gonna have to wipe to dry. Then you put them in the dryer, they get extra hard and they scratch even more. It's horrible.
And
right?
shrink.
They shrink, terrible. And also they bleed, so that, you know, it'll bleed onto the car. This is the Rag Company's 365 towel. Okay, this is comes from Korea. So this is edgeless, so there's no scratching, there's no tags on it, which is cool. This is a 70-30 blend, right? And if you take care of this and you wash it with, let's say, Rags to Riches from P&S right now, this should last you 3 to 4 years. Seriously, air dry them, never put them in the dryer, cool. So what I do now is I use blue for cleaning and I use yellow for degreasing. So I color code my towels and I wash them separate so they don't mix, right? So very important to use good towels. And I'm telling you, like I even just did a video 2 days ago where the hood was soaking and 4 wipes it was dry. I was like, just because of the towel. What did that save me?
Time.
Cool. For cleaning now, I used to use baby shampoo. Right? Now I use Absolute from P&S. Because again, the right companies dominates Amazon, right? And when I say I need a good, I said, what cleaner should I use for the cars? They said, oh, Absolute's the best, without question. I'm like, okay, how do I use it? They said, well, it's a polymer base, so you just kind of shake it back and forth. It's a rinseless wash, so don't shake it, because if you shake it, it mixes. So once I mix it like this, literally for a spray bottle like this, I do that. So it's 1/3 of a cup, and all I do is pour this in, and that's it. So how much is that? It ain't much, right? And now I just, and that's how I clean a car, and I've never had cleaner cars in my life. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's pretty cool. So I got that. So now instead of using baby shampoo, it's basically the same cost. It's just a different product. Cool. Different towels, different cleaners. I still use isopropyl alcohol because it's great, cheap, get it everywhere. So 70% is perfect. So that's my cleaning jam now. Absolute, right towels, this. Now I used to use a clay, actual clay. Then I was using a clay towel. Now I use this. Okay, so the right company invented this about a year ago, and this thing is the coolest thing I've ever came up, like clean a car with. Right. So basically, you keep the package because the package lets it dry, and it also keeps it clean. So for this now, I pull this out, and I got my clay on one side, and this is a bug scrubber. It's awesome, and this is actually very good for cleaning windows for tint. Awesome. So normally, if you're doing a lot of shop, you just let this live in a bucket of Absolute, you're good. Okay. But what I like about this now is it's extremely effective clay, but I don't have to grip it. I just set my hand on it, and it's super relaxed, so I don't have any tension in my hand. And I'm telling you, you can clear your bars in seconds. It's awesome. So this is
Yeah, seems like it covers more area as opposed to the normal clay bar.
100%.
And you having to flatten it out and things like that.
And if you take care of this, 100 to 150 cars, $22 for a pair. It's like, dude, this is crazy. Okay. So my point is, this is a no-brainer now too. So for cleaning, I clay bar, I do the whole thing. We're good. For taking hardware off the car, plastic removal tools, just make sure you get good quality. I just bought one on Amazon the other day, and it was horrible. It was just soft, it bent, it didn't do what I wanted to. For star clips, I use this. So this is very good for popping off star clips. For door handles, you want for the most part, long-handled Torx. Long-handled Torx are very effective for taking door handles off because you want to get that out. For taking off emblems and stuff like that, sometimes I use string or fishing wire, which is nice. I like to use the one from Yellow Tools because it's nice and ergonomic. So
Do you heat it up first prior?
Sometimes. Oftentimes if I'm doing string, no. If I'm using a plastic removal tool, yes, a little bit.
Okay.
For taking hardware off the car, I can get off 99% of what I want on a car with this. All right. So this is a Veriset, so I got almost all my Torx and Phillips and flat, and I got my bolts, and I got an extender. This had pivots, which is nice, so I can get it in any direction. Awesome. So this is very, very good to have. Sometimes clips will break, so I have backup clips. Okay, that's just happens. And for underneath the car, this is what's called a scratchless sponge. This is very effective for removing bugs and dirt and oil. I don't put it on the main paint, except for Randy's car, I could definitely do it, but this car, yeah. Okay. For scraping off emblems and stuff like that, this is okay, right? Again, everything, and again, I'm not here to sell a line, I'm just really genuinely excited about it. So the Rap Institute Platinum Tool line, we're exclusive sellers of Yellow Tools on Amazon, and that will be announced or launched next week, right? So what you have to think about is like this scraper's plastic. It's cool, okay? All the cars today in America are water-based paint, which means it's better for the environment, but they're super what? Soft. That paint scratches really easy. If I scrape off the emblems like this, it's gonna scratch the paint. Yellow Tools, Yellow Blade that we sell is super cheap. I think you get a 5-pack or whatever. That is a plastic that's made for water-based paint. So when I go like this on the surface, it doesn't scratch. It sounds stupid until you scratch it, and you know what I'm saying? So everything is well thought out. This is okay, but I don't like okay. I want to be great. Cool, all right. Double-sided tape for emblems. Sometimes they're hollow, and I'll use this, but for the most part, I use press and place. And I'll show you how this works in a second. This is awesome. So this is really good double-sided tape, very quick and easy. So that gets all the prep tools for getting everything ready. Masking tape, you want to just get high quality masking tape. I like to color it, I have it blue, and now we have one that's green that looks really good. For knives right now, I have the yellow tools knife here. So this is the knife you guys got. This is the multi-cartridge knife. So how this works is it holds 5 blades. So what I can do now is I can get my blades out, and usually I put 5 in a day. I push this out, I slide the cartridge out, and now I can put the blades here, and I slide it into the cartridge to here. I use the back of my blade here, and I slide it down, and then I rotate it, and I do that. Once it's in, I do this, and I put this back, and I'm good to go. Cool. Why I like this knife right now is normally when I used to do back in the day, I used to use this knife. My first year of wrapping, I did that on purpose. Thank you. I used to use a metal knife, and I used to float the knife here, right? Which is okay, but I put a huge amount of energy and focus in my hand. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the day, I'd be fucking tired because I'd be gripping the hand so hard, gripping the knife so hard because I didn't want it to go down too far. Because if it goes down too far, what does it do? Scratches. And if I keep it too high, it does that. Right? It goes screaming across the surface. But if I use this now, I literally take the knife and I put it on the surface. I'm pushing down. And if I push down, what's the chance of it going down too low? 0. What's the chance of it popping out? 0. Fucking awesome. Because it has a very wide front because it holds 5 blades. So this works really, really well.
The angle is different. Is that like a 30 degree as opposed to that red dot?
Yeah, so this is a 40, this is what they call, everyone calls these 45, but they're actually 58. Or 59 if you want to be an asshole. So, because I say 58, they're like, well, technically it's 59. It's like, okay, whatever. So anyway, it's 58. Okay, so this is okay. This is stainless steel, and this is good for tinting, because this won't cut glass. This is also stainless steel, but because it's 30, there's a chance that this might cut glass, maybe. Carbon blades for sure, ceramic blades, you need to get it close to when it cuts. I like 30-degree blades for color change because it's more nuanced. I can get corners better. Okay, so I use 30-degree blades. I think NT Cutter makes the best, cheapest blades for 30-degree. Highest quality, best price, so this is why I work with NT Cutter. Cool, so we got that. Every time before I cut, I open up a safe box and I click. And I close it, and I'm good. All right, so always dispose it in there. More and more, to be honest with you, this is my knife of choice. I'm actually changing my game a little bit, and I'll hand this around if you guys want to play it. Maybe I like it just because of the name, Ninja. And you use what kind of blades? Samurai, whatever. But this, I'll hand it around. It is the lightest knife you've ever used in your knife. The blades are super, super good quality. Come from Japan. What I like about it is a 45-degree angle on the front, so it forces you to cut at a 45-degree angle, which is really cool. For PPF, it's the best knife for PPF. It is awesome. For tinting, once I put a new blade in, what's cool about these blades is these blades are incredibly thin, right? And when you do tint and you want to do beveled in cut, you can actually flex your blade and you get the beveled cut at the top super quick. I'm telling you, this is actually my blade of choice. And again, we have exclusive rights to sell this in America, which is awesome. And at first I thought, it's okay knife, and I'm like, dude, this knife is awesome. Okay, so seriously, it's pretty cool. So anyway, play with this today if you want. This is also a cool knife. Okay, they made this for window tinting, right? Or sort of window perf. So window perf, you want to cut it back from the molding by about 1/4 of an inch, right? So here, they sent me this tool, and they said, this is for window perf. I'm like, it's okay, because it cuts the rubber, and it's not great for that, but I was like, for pinstripes, dope. Those pinstripes on that Ferrari that I showed you are with this. So just imagine taking a scrap of red and just going, and putting it on the car and be like, that's $350. I'm not joking. You don't have to go to a plotter.
And it's adjustable as well?
Yeah, I could adjust it wide, I can adjust it super narrow. And sometimes on a color change wrap, if I want to go deeper inside the car, I'll cut with it closed and then put a strip of the original color on top and make it go deeper, which is quicker. Make sense? So this is a great tool to have. What else do I have? This one, Snitty. Make sure you guys use a Snitty when you're trimming panels. For a Snitty though, I always do this. I always pull it out and I look for a line on the blade. If I see a line on the blade, it tells me it's been what?
Damaged?
Well, not damaged, just used.
Or used?
Yeah, and then I can slide it back in. I rotate it to a side that doesn't have a line. Why is that good?
It's sharp.
When
Yeah, it's sharper.
fresh
When I go to
cut.
cut the backing paper, I want powder. Like Vivid, one of the reasons Vivid is cheap is not because the vinyl itself is cheaper, it's the backing paper is cheaper. When you cut Vivid backing paper, it powders and snows.
I noticed that.
Right, that's because they're using short weave fibers, which is cheaper. Weaver uses long weave fibers, which are more expensive and harder to source, but they don't powder as much. But even then, I still cut my blades. Cool, all right. So those are my knives. we use knifeless tape, we'll use tri-line, ridge-line, and design line today. This is actually my favorite knife right now. Have you guys seen this in action or no?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is, normally Avery has a tucking tool. I like the Avery tucking tools.
Yeah.
I use this side for tucking the material behind the gasket, and I use this side for tucking the material into tight gaps. And I use this for years. I said this is one of my top 3 tools. Now, this is my favorite tool, by far. Okay, why don't you guys turn around to the window here. I'll show this later when we get going, but basically, could someone hand me the sanding paper right there? The block. So I'm going to teach you guys in a little bit a technique called tuck and cut. So I tuck the material in, and I'm sure I taught this last time I was here. So I tuck the material in, and I tuck it twice, and then I take my knife now, and I do a cut with my knife, and I say, okay, this is super advanced cut right now, because if I come too high, I cut the car. You have to be very focused, and I want you guys to practice this. It's super stressful, but if you get this right, this is cool. And I said this for 12 years in a workshop. Now I say, well, all you do is just take the thin side of the wrap X, and you sharpen it up, and then you just stick it in. It's pretty fucking cool. Okay. So I use the thin side for cutting, and I use the thick side for picking the rubber up and tucking into the gasket. So I can take this into here, and I can pull the rubber up and tuck the material behind. So one side is for tucking, the other side is for cutting. And I just did 2 cars in Boise on a Bronco and a Ford Explorer, and I would say literally here, over 50% of my cuts on this car will be with the wrap X. And my install time drops like a stone, and what's my stress level? 0. Awesome.
Because you're not on that blade, using that blade constantly.
Yeah. And I can get at least, if I'm just using it just as a blade, 3 to 4 cars out of something that costs $5. Dude, all day. How much stress do I have? But again, just like your blade, some people are like, well, so, I mean, it wears down. It's like, dude, if you don't fucking click your blade, it wears down too. So the idea is every time before I use this as a cutter, I take it on a 400 grit sanding paper, and I'm good to go. It's cool. All right, so I'm just saying this is a game changer. Awesome. There's a green one, just so you know. And the green one is pretty cool because the green one has a 90-degree turn. So if, let's say there's an edge you can't pick up, this is for getting around the edge and sealing, which is pretty cool. All right, so this is a wide variety of tool. So again, this is really cool. There's a green one and a red one. So this is for cutting, this is for tucking. Cool? Awesome. All right, so I do want to show one thing. So for years, it's funny how, I mean, my slogan in my company is never stop learning, right? So for years, I used the blue squeegee from Avery, which is okay, and then I switched to the red squeegee, and I said this is the best squeegee for wrapping cars with, right? But what I found is, just recently, on the Wrap Institute, we had to come up with a squeegee for our line, right? So we work with yellow tools. So with my partner Reiner, I said, okay, if we have one squeegee that you could use to wrap anything, PPF, tint, walls, floors, or whatever, how hard do we make it, how do we make it? And so he's like, I want something kind of in between a gold squeegee and a red squeegee. So it was a little stiffer than I wanted. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, for sure, okay? And again, for years I've been using the red squeegee. In the workshops I say you can flex and stuff like that. The problem is now, and I didn't know this for years, is that because it's a soft squeegee, I have to press way harder to make the material stick.
Mm-hmm.
Now with this, now that we have a medium shore right now, so it still has the flex on the corners, but the inside is stiff. And I'm squeegeeing with way less pressure than I ever have before and getting better results. It's really cool. What's nice about it is we have this little spinner in here, so I can really spin it easily. So instead of gripping the squeegee like this now, I kind of grip it like this, which is cool. So I hold it with less tension, which is cool. This side now, I love this stuff. So instead of having squeegee here, which I kind of do this when I tuck the corner in, now I do this. So I can be much more precise with my finger and tuck it in. I'm telling you, it's the best squeegee I've ever used. It's awesome, and I'm happy to say it's mine. Cool. What's cool about it too is this is food grade plastic, so if I stick it in my mouth, which I do all the time, this is filled with what? Plasticizer, solvents. If I stick this in my mouth, it's food grade, but the biggest thing is this doesn't wear down. So it's really cool. Okay, so you're getting good quality. But I'm saying if you guys want to play with this, I'm just doing stuff I've never done before. Good tool. Cool. So now we got squeegees. I always put a fresh buffer on it every time. The buffers I use personally are monkey strips or banana buffers. And I put a fresh one on every time. How come?
You don't want any scratches?
Yeah, I see people use those squeegees that have the built-in buffer or whatever. They're like $15. And it's like, dude, what's the point? Because after 2 or 3 cars, they're filled with dirt, and then they start to squeegee, and they're dragging across, and it's just terrible. Okay, so just always like your blades, replace your blades, all that kind of stuff. This is the backing paper cutter. This just cuts the backing paper. Have you guys ever seen this? Who here is not? Okay, so I'll come over here. So let's say this particular material from Avery has a high initial tack. So this is much tackier than normal. So right now, if I depends on how you're wrapping, especially on a hot day, if I take the whole backing paper off this, it's gonna stick and be really hard. So instead of taking the whole backing paper off, what if I do this? I open up a section of the backing paper here. I take this, I feed it through here, and I do this.
Oh, wow.
And then I can set this panel exactly where I want, because I got the backing paper on, right where I get it where I want. I can lock it into here, then I can pull the backing paper here, squeegee it along. Then I can pull the backing paper here, and squeegee it along. Cool. Okay, so this is really nice to have. The one that we're selling on Amazon has a Teflon coated, especially made by Yellow Tools. It's a single blade cartridge, and it has a beer bottle opener on the back. Nice. So if you're alcoholic. All right. Application gloves. The one from Avery is okay, right? For me, this is good because it's spandex, one size fits all, but it's old school fabric, so you have to spray it with soap and water, otherwise it's going to grip, right? The new gloves are great because they are made with a special fabric that is silicone in it, plus it's really strong, so this is cut resistant. Plus I like to put it over my watch so it doesn't scratch. So this slides and glides, I don't need soap and water, and it's cool. All right, so definitely use these gloves. I use markers for marking the panels, trimming the panels, stripes, doing the whole thing, which is cool. I used to use these, okay? So these magnets are okay, right? They're super strong, they're kind of expensive, but they leave impressions on the vinyl, right? Which is not good, especially color change. Did a live event 6 years ago of a friend of mine in Boise, and I stay with them sometimes. Her car is still wrapped because she's been ceramic coating and takes care of the stuff. And I told the installers, like, don't fucking put this over the wrap when you're done. And they're like, okay. And they did, and what happened? 6
These
years
like
later,
little
they're fucking
5 or 6 little circles.
Dude, they don't come out. They never come out. Okay, so this is always a problem, but I like magnets because it holds the panel on. Well, now with the Rapid Institute, we have this. So these are magnet mats. So basically, this magnet mat now, I can take this out, and for me, I just used this in the video shoot where I was doing color change wraps, and I'll show you, I had a whole panel on the side of the car, and I used to use 8 magnets everywhere to hold the panel on. Even when I cut it, it still shifted a little bit. Now, super strong, and it conforms. And so I can do this where I want to just hold the panel on, cut it out, but when I really want to lock the panel in, I do that, and I guarantee you your panels ain't moving. The biggest thing I like about this is not only is it super strong, it doesn't leave what?
Marks.
Never leaves marks. So now I got perfect wraps and perfect hold. Cool. And you get 2 pairs for $55. Awesome. I'm just telling you, the game is changing quick. Get the right tools and you're flowing. Awesome. So I got the right magnets, which is great. Measuring tape. Make sure you get a nice big measuring tape so it doesn't kink, so you don't scratch what you're kind of measuring. You will want to use a pivot vise for door handles, gas caps, mirrors, so you could do that. So it's very easy to do. What else we got? Edge seal tape. Use this a lot for color change, right? This goes on the entire underside of the car, but I'm also using this for knifeless tape, especially when we get to the antenna tomorrow. I'm going to show how to use this, which is really cool. Mold and hold. I highly recommend someone use mold and hold. Mold and hold is great. Why is it great? It's because this actually looks like textured molding on the car. This, if you use it smart, will lower your install time on cars by an hour. I'm doing a program for, I can't say what manufacturer right now, and on the Ford Bronco, you have to use mold and hold on certain sections, and it saves so much time. All right, do you guys understand how this works?
Not necessarily.
So if I'm wrapping a mirror right now, and then normally this is a textured plastic, I'm going to cut this in half, I'm gonna cut this mold and hold in half, and I'm gonna cut the material short from here, and then I put mold and hold there, and it's holding. So it looks like molding on the car. Here, if I want to do this by the book, I have to wrap inside there and wrap deep inside that gap right now, which means there's gonna be tension on the film. It takes me a while. But what if I cut with the door closed, the material comes short, and then I come back here and I put mold and hold. And I put mold and hold from top to bottom. Is that quick and easy to put on? Sure. Does it look like it's part of the car? Yes. What does the customer say? Nothing. That's the point. Okay. Or even here, like normally there's a step here, and the customer's going to damage that. So what I do is I cut with the door closed, even if it's a white car. Then I put mold and hold in that gap. So if they do damage it, I can replace the mold and hold. That's what I'm using mold and hold for. Is getting deeper coverage and also something that's protecting. Cool. Okay. So that's mold and hold. So what else do we have? You're going to post-heat the material at the end of the day, which is cool. You want extra headlamps so you can see what you're doing. For cutting around antennas, you can use a gear tie, or you can use a contour cutter, or I have some other tips and tricks. So this is creating shapes for cutouts. For doing the mirror, you're going to use the Wrap UEZ, which is dope. For your tool belt, you want your tool belt on the side. I always like to have my tool belt black. What else am I missing? I think we're good here. For when the client gets in the car, you're going to hang this from the rear view mirror. Smell the love. So years ago, I was joking with Michael from Yellow Tools. I said, wouldn't it be cool to have a squeegee that smells? So he actually found it. So this is all plant-based plastic, and it lasts for 10 years. So if you're a cup, what?
We discussed we wanted one flavored, so.
I wanted flavor too, but he said he couldn't do that. So my point is that if you're a customer and you get in the car, how cool it would be to have a squeegee that smells like bubblegum or peppermint or whatever. So does this cost you $8, $9? I don't use it for wrapping, right? But I use it as a sales tool. I hang it. So why is this good? Because it makes it.
A reminder.
And it's also smell. It's not only just visual, it's a deeper sense of association. If you wrap the car good and they smell this, they're like, oh, he's awesome. Plus they tell their friends, oh, check this out.
Right.
This is the best sales tool you've ever had, and people don't get this. Cool. Right. What else we got?
First aid.
Okay. I can't really show this in the workshop so much, but this is a product we developed with P&S. P&S is a great detailer company, whatever. This is my secret. I call this a Swiss Army knife of wrap solutions. I use this on everything. Cool. I use this to go under the vinyl, okay, to make it slide and glide, especially with Vivid. I put this on my squeegee, so the squeegee doesn't scratch, right? And at the end is an aftercare. This lasts 6 months and is amazing. And not only do I put this on the wrap, I put this on the windows, I put this on the interior, I put this on my laptop. Yes?
Is it any different on like matte material?
No.
We did some stripes and I used it, and my squeegee left like lines on it.
You have to dry it right away.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you let this, I mean, this is like anything, it's not a ceramic, but if you let it sit too long and you don't wipe it off right away, then it's gonna leave lines. Very good. Yeah, so that's one thing to know for this. So you do have to wipe. So my protocol is when I use it on my squeegee, I literally come back in and I buff it off right away. So that's a good tip. So, cool. Okay, so last couple of things, protocol. Installer checkoff list. Have protocols, make sure everything's checked off on a list. So you got that, so it's cool. Pre-inspection forms. If you're on the Wrap Institute, these are free. So you got these free pre-inspection forms, pre-flow sheets. And this is the big one for y'all, is this, okay? So make sure that you measure your sheets and measure material ahead of time for color change, and then you save it, document it, okay? So this is the big one, for sure. So once you have that, also Avery, you can call their sample department and get these for free. This is for their MPI 1105, but you could also get it for Supreme Wrapping Foam. So this, you hang from the rear view mirror, and you show this to, you give this to the customer, and you put when it was wrapped and all that kind of stuff. Very important to hang this in the rear view mirror and take a picture of this and send it to the client in an email. Why?
It's their warranty.
What?
It's their warranty.
Yeah. But you could say,
Kind of saves you as well.
yeah, because you could say, I told you, because you could have customers, especially matte black. I mean, dude, you're going to show the customer the swatch book, and you're like, yo, check all these colors out there, like matte black. Okay, cool. Like, yo, check this color out. Satin black is cool. I mean, you're going to do matte black, satin blacks, that's what you're going to do. But they're hard to maintain. So you tell your customer, yo, I just told you how to maintain this. And if they come back 6 months later and they say, yo, it looks like shit, you say, yo, I showed you. But if you don't take a picture of that, the customer's right.
Yeah.
Take a picture, and I'm always getting on top of the customer with a smile. Cool, okay. So make sure that's good. All right, any questions here? So these are the tools, and if you want to use them throughout the workshop, great. Later today, when we get to cutting, I want you guys to practice on this. Cool. So you're gonna practice on weapons. So we've come up with these, we're called bing bing plates. And now, not very much noise, but there we go. So if you cut too deep, you're gonna practice putting material on here, and if you cut too deep, it makes a noise. So the goal is to be able to cut out shapes without making a noise, and it cuts clean. And this is very good to practice on. Why is it good to practice on this?
Because you know.
Let you know your depth of how.
And you don't practice on the car.
That
The
too.
point is, this is really good, and we do this at shows. It's pretty cool, okay? So the shows, you have to do it within a certain amount of time, and you get prizes and all sorts of shit. Cool. And we have a new one coming out that has like timers built into it, and you could do different shapes on it and stuff like that. It's pretty cool, all right? So I definitely want you guys to practice on this today. Cool? Okay. So any questions so far? All right. So let's come to the front of the car, and let's get to wrapping. So, I guess I can write it here. So basically right now, let's say, I want to write, actually, let me switch this. I'm going to write what you need to do to get a car ready to wrap. My squeegee is. Okay, so let's say you guys are, the customer shows up, right? He's dropping the car off. What do we have to do to make this car ready to wrap, to pick up a squeegee?
Prep it.
What prep? Let's be specific. There's 7 steps. See if you can guess them.
Cleaning the car.
So cleaning. What else?
Hardware.
Hardware. What else?
Alcohol prep.
So degrease. You guys are doing great.
Is it the clay bar or the?
Yeah, good. What else? So how about pre-inspect? That's one. What else?
The tools that you're gonna need.
I guess they should be given, I think.
What you're gonna charge the customer?
No. Like a prep, like customers dropping off a car. So we have to do pre-inspection. I think we should also cut material down, right? What else do we have to do? So we have 6. We have one more. I think the other one for me is kind of a sneaky one, but it's very important. Is air compress. Cool. So we have to do 7 things. Cleaning, hardware, degrease, clay, pre-inspection, cut the material down, air compress. What do we do first?
Clean.
Cleaning is number 3.
So what's the air compressor?
Air compress is you literally take an air compressor and you go in all the cracks and go everywhere to blow all the
So
air.
when you do that first, get everything out.
I'm going to do air compressors second.
Hardware.
Cut materials.
Hardware. There we go. Hardware first. Why hardware first?
Because you got debris.
Right.
Yeah, back
Then once I
behind.
take the hardware, dirt. So if I take that dirt and blow it out, cool. Then I start to clean. Cool. I used to do this in the wrong sequence and it just came out to bite me in the butt. What's next? What's number 4?
Clay.
Clay. Very good. What's next?
Degrees.
What's next?
Pre-inspect.
Now, I can do pre-inspect 6 or 7. I don't think it matters at this point, but I usually pre-inspect last, and then I do cutting. Cool. Okay, how come pre-inspect is last?
Because after you have everything clean, you kind of have a better look of any issues or what's going on with the vehicle.
Cool. If this is wrap few, that is number. Still correct though. You're good. You guys would be high five. What do we do? Okay. So pre-inspect's last because I don't know if this is a rock chip or bird shit or dirt. So I can't do pre-inspect now. But the client's here. Right? See, a lot of people do pre-inspect with the client, and then all of a sudden you clean the car and you're like, oh shit, we already talked about it. I have to call the client. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. So right now I tell the client, look, I'm going to do a pre-inspection, but right now we have to clean, clay bar, get the car ready. This is about a 6 or 7 hour process. You can either wait out there, which I know you don't want to do, or you can come back in 6 or 7 hours, but keep in mind that I'm going to take a video of each one. I'm going to take a picture. I personally sign this, You have to sign it. You can either sign it now, come back in person, or you can sign it when you pick up the car. And they always say, I'll sign it now. I said, that's a good call. Cool, your Uber's waiting. See you tomorrow. How come I pay for them to get picked up by an Uber?
Service.
Service? What else?
You leave that impression that you're professional. It's your business.
Close. Getting better. You're good. Those are all correct.
Their convenience. They're not having to call for a ride.
That's also, you guys are all good, but you haven't hit the number one, which means I want my client
Out.
out.
Yeah.
Why?
So you can start.
Very good. 'Cause
What'd he
otherwise
say?
the client-
So
I
you
want to
start.
Okay, okay.
Otherwise the clients are going to talk. So I get them the Uber and I tell them the pre-inspect is gonna happen later, so I get them out. Not because I'm a dick, because I wanna get to
To work.
time is money. Okay, hasn't had any, had a client just talk and talk and talk, and you're like, fuck, I just wanna get to work. Anyone?
Oh,
Cool.
all the time.
Okay, so my point is I neutralize that, and that comes from experience. Okay, but I'm doing it with a smile. You know what I'm saying? But I'm doing everything by the book. So now we do hardware. Do you guys wanna see how to take hardware off the car? Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
So let me get my hardware stuff together. And has anyone here taken hardware off the car? Okay, what issues do you have when you take hardware off the car?
Clips break.
What?
Clips break.
Clips break, what else? Hearts break?
Kind of where to start if you're first starting, you know.
They're all different, it's hard to figure out some of them.
All cars are different.
They're definitely different. Good, cool. So what are we taking off on the front?
We're not taking anything off, we're just listening to the.
I think so, but I might, depending on the color of the car, in this case, I might take that out. Because what's behind there is a lot of dirt, and if it's white, my chance of coming up short there is extremely high. Even if it's a black car, I'll probably take it off, just to be safe. I don't think I've taken anything else off here. Cool, alright. Why does everyone come on over here? Sometimes there's, like right here, I think this cover right here is really hot. The chance of making a shit cut back here is really high. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take this out and I put it right there. I want to put it right there.
So you know where.
You know which side it goes on.
Cool. How long did that take?
5 seconds.
5 seconds. Cool. Why don't you guys come back over here and you can see this? Okay. Do I want to take off this mirror? 100%. Why? Because what's behind here is a ton of
Dirt.
Plus it's in the way, right? So if it comes off easy, I'll take it off. So here, I can put this open, and then I can take this out, and then I can access the 3 bolts, and the connector is right there. So I can disconnect this and I'm good to go. Is that worth doing?
Yeah, totally.
So take the bolts out, put this right back on. Make sure when you get to the 3rd bolt, for the love of baby Jesus or Buddha, hold on to this, otherwise it falls. Cool. And we're good. Make sense? So this just goes right on the floor there. Awesome. Cool. So that's worth coming off. If you want to take off a door panel, hardware is not taking off a door panel. Okay. So door panels, you have a cover here. This pops out. Generally, you have a 3rd bolt here, so you pop this up. Sometimes you have a sneaky bolt here, and sometimes you have sneaky bolts here. So, but generally it's 2 here. Once these are off, you pop the clips on the outside, raise this up, pull it out, disconnect it, and you're good. And then you put it back. Sounds easy, right?
Up to where you have to start removing the door handle, wiring and stuff like that. It gets confusing for me
Frustrating.
and
Yeah,
frustrating.
The Ford Bronco that I worked on, the cap wasn't coming off, and I've taken off a fair amount of door handles, but it's not my cup of tea. And I was taking it off, and the screw fell inside the Ford, which was fucking crazy. And it was a special screw, so I couldn't just replace it with something else. And I had this guy come in, Joe, who knows how to take car parts. He used to be a mechanic. Took it off, was like, okay. So I had a separate cover there that he had to loosen, and then to get to the screw, we had to take out the glass just to get to the screw. Then he took that and fixed it out. It was like an hour. Yeah. So anyway, let's get to this. So I'm just saying door handles can be tricky, but for the most part, they're easy. So I open this up right now, take off the black button of love. In this case, I got Torx. Generally, there's like a Torx 25. Cool. So how door handles work, if you've never taken one off before, is there's two pieces for the most part. Okay, even if there's one piece, there's probably a small piece inside behind here. This piece has a lever. That lever, I'm sorry, there's a lever inside the car that comes down to about right here. Behind this handle, it has a 90-degree turn at the end. So it has a little piece of plastic that goes out about 2 inches and a 90-degree turn. That sits behind a lever that's inside the car. And every time you pull the handle, that 90-degree turn pulls the lever up, and that's what makes the door open. So in order to get this out from behind the handle, it has to slide, then come out. So for it to slide, this is holding this and keeping it from sliding. So first you take off this, then you can slide this. Make sense? So now, I open it up so it holds. I take in the screw. This particular door handle has a safety mechanism, so if the screw comes out all the way, it gets caught. Hopefully. So I take this out all the way. Then I usually take this, and I can pry this out. Once I do that, I make sure I hold the screw so it doesn't fall inside. Then I can slide this out. I take off the covers. I open this up, and always, for the love of baby Jesus, Buddha, safety,
It's my little too
Trump,
easy.
whatever. Cool. I do that. Is that worth taking off? Yes. Okay. So this comes off in a little bit. This comes off in a little bit. Right here on the roof. Okay. This is held on by clips. These clips love to break. So make sure you pry it, and you pry it very carefully. Especially in Arizona, this can be fragile because it gets a lot of what? Heat. Okay, so be very careful to pry this. If it fights, I don't push harder, I go slower. So right now that's really freaking me out. So I'm going to think about that, especially on Rainey's car. No need to take that off today.
That's why I was gonna ask, what about working on an older vehicle that has those that are very brittle?
Yeah, I mean, you might want to even tell the customers, like, you know, this is tricky, but just make sure it's just part of the deal. It sucks, especially here. You have to think. I like teaching workshops across the world because in New York you have to worry about this. In Arizona or New Mexico you have to worry about this. Sun, corrosion, cool. But that comes off pretty easy. This I never take off. How come? Like ever.
Well, not going properly.
It's not one time only, but the chance of that bending is really high, and the chance of that going back to its original shape
Properly,
is zero,
yeah.
Right, so this is too high risk. Generally, I take off the gas cap. Why? Gas caps are easy, right? This gas cap either slides out or just has 2 bolts. And why do I take the gas cap off? For color change.
It's easy to go around.
It's easy to go around. Why not? If something comes up that easy, cool. Why does everyone come around to the back? Okay, so for the back now, I'm going to take off these covers here for sure. This antenna, I used to say take off. So this antenna is accessible because this right now, I can sneak inside here and I can generally pry this off, but this one has clips, so I have to take those clips off and I have to lower that, which I could do, it's just going to take me time, and the chance of that bending is really high. But at least I can reach in and maybe take off that antenna, right? But I don't do that pretty much at all anymore. Why?
So you want to damage any?
Well, taking off antennas right now just opens up a big can of worms. If you don't seal it back, water gets in the roof, which is cool. A lot of companies now, especially on the higher end cars, put a lot of technology in the antenna. So if you take the antenna out, it resets the whole electrical system. It is opening up a can of worms that you don't have to do. I'm going to show you very easy ways to work around the antenna. So antenna stays. This section here is tricky. I think this section here, I might penny. This one I'm just going to take 2 bolts and take that off. Super easy. This is in my way. There's a lot of dirt inside there. That comes off. No way I'm leaving that off. Okay? Because it makes it easier to wrap that section for sure. This back section here, those lights, no question, comes off. Super easy. So definitely want to take that off. For this section here, if we're wrapping around here, do you see how tight that is? The chance of getting the material inside there and how long that would take me fucking drive me nuts. Okay? So for me to take off this cover now, I'm actually going to drop off this. This comes out, so I can take that out. Does that take time? For sure. Okay, so just know what you're doing. So once I take that off, I'm good. Do I want to take this off? Don't want to, but I'm going to, because what's behind here is dirt, and my chance of getting that short there is really high, so I'm gonna take this off. Strain, heat, do the whole thing. Definitely wanna take these off, which is time, and maybe wanna take this off. So this back is involved, you guys can see it. For the emblems, what I do is this. If the client wants the emblems back on, what do I have to do ahead of time? Measure and create a template, right? There's different ways to do that with masking tape and do all this stuff, okay? But I don't do that. Because I do this. Is I take my plastic removal tool and I do that. And then what I generally will do is I'll spray this with a little bit of water and I'll come in with the right scraper. And I don't do this dry because I'm scratchy, but you get the point. So I make it as flat as possible, but I don't use adhesive removers, I don't use anything. Cool. And then I wrap over the top. And then what I do is I come in and take, which I just have. Do you guys see the pressing place? I just had it. Oh, here, sorry. So then I take this now. And this is breakable adhesive. So if I wrap over the top of adhesive that's super, super flat, what that adhesive is my what? It's my template. And then I put double-sided tape, press in place on this again. How much time does that save? How does that look? How does it hold up? It's on you. Cool. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I used to say don't put the envelopes back on the car, but now I put the envelopes back on the car. This is actually quicker than taking the adhesive off.
So once you remove that E and you have that little bit of junk up under there still, once you wrap over that, are you going to see that through? I know you're putting your Rogue back on there, but is that going to cause any issues?
I think it looks fine, personally. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is it 100% flat as if it's like OEM? No, but I mean, is the customer going to notice? No way. Okay. I think it's a huge time saver, personally. Okay. But if you want to go through the whole process of doing double-sided tape, we can do. I mean, I don't know. Has anyone put double-sided tape behind an emblem before? It's nuts. It drives me crazy. Okay. I don't do that anymore because I'm past that. Cool. Okay. So, any questions here?
What was that called again?
Press in place.
Okay.
I call it amazing. Right. So now hardware comes off. How long is this hardware going to take? On this car, what I just showed you.
Not an hour even?
Yeah, half hour to an hour. It's cool. What's right there? In the corner. Oh, air.
Compressor and vacuum?
Okay. I personally, I'm hoping that they use the air compressor to do what?
Blow it
So
in.
now you take dirt and all that dirt that was underneath the hardware that's getting blown out, but I do not do that in the shop because it's done right outside the door. Cool. That's an extremely important step for color change. Okay. Open up the hood, blow all the dirt out of the engine, all that kind of stuff. Very important. So make sure you do that. That takes about 20 minutes. Then the car comes in and you clean it. So why don't you guys come to the front?